Let's look at the Ford F-Series. The Ford F-Series started with model year 1948. The F-150 that we are most familiar with began in 1975. There are currently 14 generations of the F-Series.
Welcome to Feed Your Brain.
Since 1977, the F-Series has been the best-selling pickup truck in the United States. And it has even been the highest-selling vehicle overall since 1981. The first generation of the Ford F-Series is from 1948 to 1952. This is when Ford first developed a frame specifically for trucks. The prior truck designs were based on existing car frames. The new frame, just for trucks, included a third crossmember to add extra strength, which was also then used on the medium-duty lineup. This first generation featured the half-ton F1. Here is a 1950 F3. This first-generation F-Series had all kinds of improvements from previous truck models. The new cab was 7 inches wider and had extra headroom. Wider doors were provided, and the doors extended beneath the cab's floor, for better accessibility, and for better protection from the elements. There was the new flat one-piece windshield, and the rear window was enlarged. The bench seats were made more comfortable, and were now adjustable. And many other improvements. The F-Series are light-duty pickup trucks. The United States government classifies light-duty trucks as having a gross vehicle weight up to 8,500 pounds and payload capacities up to 4,000 pounds. The labeling of 1/2-ton pickup or 1-ton pickup are just nicknames, and these labels don't refer to any actual weight-carrying capabilities. Here are more examples of the 1948 F-Series. The second generation is from 1953 to 1956. Here is a 1956 F100. Here, rebranding took place. The prior F1 name now becomes the new F100 name. These trucks started to be less utilitarian, and more comfort begins to be added, such as two-tone paint, automatic transmissions, and an improved heater and radio. And these second-generation Ford trucks had new standard features such as armrests, dome lights, sun visors, integrated front fenders, and more aerodynamic. In 1956, the F-Series offered seatbelts as an option, just like their cars. Can you believe that older cars were built without seatbelts? Here are more trucks from the second-generation F-Series, which started in 1953. The third generation of the Ford F-Series is from 1957 to 1960. Here is an immaculate-looking 1959 F100. This third generation was a significant improvement and redesign. Look how the front fenders became integrated into the body, and the bed continued even with the cab all the way to the back. Look here on the door, it reads Custom Cab. And look at this emblem. Look how beautiful it is. With a lightning bolt across either sun rays or a gear. Here are more examples of the third generation of the Ford F-Series. The fourth generation was from 1961 to 1966. Here is a perfect-looking 1964 F100. Big changes were implemented with this fourth generation. These trucks were now longer and lower. And they had new engine designs and new gearbox choices. Look how cool this emblem is. Here are more examples of the Ford F-Series, fourth generation. The fifth generation F-Series was from 1967 to 1972. Here is a 1968 F100. Dimensions were increased, and engine options were expanded, along with offering 3 trim levels. The grille was redesigned, and the interior cap fittings were redesigned as well. Here are more examples of the Ford F-Series, 5th generation. The 6th generation was from 1973 to 1979. Here is 1979 F250. This generation included front disc brakes, increased cabin dimensions, double wall bed construction, and increased use of galvanized steel. The more modern 335 and 385 series engines were introduced in 1976. In 1977, the F-Series line became the best-selling truck in the United States, a position still held to this day. For more safety, the fuel tank was moved out of the cab and placed below the pickup bed. Wow, imagine all of these years, the fuel tank was right behind the seats in the cab. Here are more examples of the Ford F-Series 6th generation, beginning in 1973. The 7th generation was from 1980 to 1986. Here is a 1980 F-150 XL. This was the first complete redesign of the lineup since 1965. There was a new body design. The engine sizes were adjusted. In 1986, the 5.0-liter V8 included fuel injection as standard, which was the first for an American pickup truck. The Ford blue oval logo was put on the grille, which continues until today, replacing the word Ford. In 1984, the F100 was dropped, so focus could be on the F150. This was the last of the 3-speed, column-shifted transmission. Here are more examples of the 7th generation F-Series, which began in 1980. The 8th generation was from 1987 to 1991. This is a 1987 Ford F-150. The front of the truck was redesigned. The interior was redesigned. The F-Series became the first American pickup truck line sold without carbureted engines, and all were therefore fuel injected. A 5-speed manual transmission became standard. Here are more examples of the 8th generation F-Series, which began in 1987. The 9th generation was from 1992 to 1997. This is a 1993 Ford F-150. The F-Series got a lower hood line, rounding of the front fenders, bumper, and grille. The F-Series received a driver-side airbag beginning in 1994. The flare-side bed came back as an option. Here are more examples of the 9th generation F-Series, which began in 1992. The 10th generation was from 1997 to 2004. This is a 1999 F250 XL. For 1997, Ford made big changes. People were using trucks more and more for personal use, not just for truck hauling purposes. So Ford provided more appeal for everyday use of the F-Series. One noticeable difference was the new fully independent front suspension, which ended the twin I-beam front axles used for so many years. And you can see here how the exterior is rounded. There was a rear hinge third door on the curbside that was introduced with the Super Cab. Because this third door was so popular, a fourth door was added to the Super Cab starting in 1999. In 2001, the F-150 was the first half-ton truck offered with a crew cab with full-size doors. Here are more examples of the 10th generation F-Series, which began in 1997. The 11th generation was from 2004 to 2008. This is a 2004 F-150 FX4. An all-new platform was created for this generation. A 3-valve version of the 5.4-liter V8 engine was introduced, replacing the previous 2 valves. The external body styling improved. In 2004, the so-called stepped windows you're accustomed to seeing with the F-Series was introduced. You can see the stepped window here. See how the bottom of the window is not a straight line, but is stepped down. This began in 2004 on the F-150s. Now, all F-150s had 4 doors with all cab types, and with the regular cab, this provides access to the storage area behind the seat. On this 2004 model, you can see the line around the back of this extended cab, here. This line indicates that this rear panel on the cab opens up as a door. Here are more examples of the 11th generation F-Series, which began in 2004. The 12th generation was from 2009 to 2014. This is a 2009 Ford F-150 XLT Super Crew. Here you can see the influence from the Super Duty style grills, which now included 3 horizontal bars. And the edge-style headlamps are more prominent. The standard cab models go back to just 2 doors, instead of the previous 2 additional rear doors. In 2009, a V8 engine was the only engine option for the F-Series, no 6-cylinder engine was available. But then in model year 2011, to focus on fuel economy, the entire engine lineup for the F-150 was updated. There was a new V8 engine, and a new 3.7-liter base V6 engine. And a twin-turbocharged 3.5-liter V6 engine was introduced that's called the EcoBoost by Ford. Also, automatic transmissions were now the only option, and a manual transmission was no longer available. The interior was more luxurious and offered more features than previous generations. The Ford Sync system became available for the first time, which included Bluetooth capabilities and USB and auxiliary inputs. Also, a premium Sony audio system was available for the first time on higher trim models. Here are more examples of the 12th generation F-Series, which began in 2009. The 13th generation was from 2015 to 2020. This is a 2016 Ford F-150. To again save on fuel consumption, the F-Series weight was reduced by almost 750 pounds. To achieve this, nearly every body panel was switched from steel to aluminum, except for the very important firewall. And the frame remained high-strength steel. Also, the 2015 F-150 was the first pickup truck with adaptive cruise control, which uses radar sensors on the front of the truck to maintain a set following distance from the vehicle in front of it. The 3.7-liter V6 was dropped, replaced by a 3.5-liter V6 as the standard engine. And a 2.7-liter EcoBoost V6 was added along with the existing 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6. The 5.0-liter V8 continued as an option. And a 6-speed automatic transmission was the sole transmission. Several safety technologies and driver assistance features were introduced in this 13th generation. This included a 360-degree camera, adaptive cruise control, collision warning with brake support, blind spot information system with cross-traffic alert, and a lane-keeping system. Here are more examples of the 13th generation F-Series, which began in 2015. The 14th generation began in 2021 and continues to the present. This is a 2021 F-150 Lariat Sport. The engine offerings are as follows: a 3.3-liter V6, a 2.7-liter and 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo V6, a 5.0-liter V8, and a 3.0-liter turbo diesel V6. Power Boost was an optional gasoline-electric hybrid powertrain introduced for the first time, pairing an electric motor with the 3.5-liter V6 EcoBoost engine. The 6-speed automatic transmission is dropped. Now all engines are paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission. There are further exterior refinements to enhance aerodynamics. Also with the interior, the front seats now folded flat and the touchscreens were made larger. And Ford unveiled a fully electric version of the F-150 in May 2021, the Ford F-150 Lightning. Here are more examples of the 14th generation F-Series, which began in 2021. Let's now look at the Ford Super Duty trucks. The Ford F-Series Super Duty trucks began in model year 1999. The Super Duty models are named F250, F350, F450, and F550. The Super Duty models are currently in their 4th generation. Here is a 1999 Ford F250 Super Cab. The Super Duty lineup utilizes a separate, stronger chassis and frame than the F-150. This allows for heavier payloads and towing capabilities. The Super Duty trucks have a GVWR, or gross vehicle weight rating, of over 8,500 pounds. With this weight rating, these trucks are Class 2 and Class 3 trucks. And chassis cab trucks are available in Class 4 and Class 5 sizes, which are the F450 and F500 models. These are chassis trucks, which allows for custom utility truck configurations to be added onto the bed area. Super Duty trucks came in 3 cab configurations: 2-door standard cab, 2+2-door super cab, 4-door crew cab. The 2+2-door super cab includes 2 standard rear hinged doors. The standard cab pickup had an 8-foot bed. Super cab and crew cabs had 6 3/4 foot bed, with 8-foot bed optional. Chassis cabs had more and different rear length and wheelbase options, but with the same cabs. 2-wheel drive was standard, with 4-wheel drive as an option. On F350 pickup trucks, a dual rear-wheel axle was optional with either drive configuration. The Super Duty trucks have front-end style influences from much larger Ford trucks, such as this 1996 Ford Louisville. You can see a few prominent features. The side windows are stepped, where the front part is lower down. This is seen on the 1996 Ford Louisville as well. And you can see here, the raised hood line on the Super Duty is influenced by the Louisville, but of course, to a lesser extent. And the lower fender is also a similar feature as well. And the larger grille, you can see, is an influence as well. Here is a 2004 F550 diesel crew cab. Here is an F550 diesel fire rescue truck. Here is a 2017 F250 work truck. Here is a 2017 F250 work truck. Please hit like and subscribe, that helps a lot. Thank you for watching.
Feed your brain.